Yeah, I got a haircut. I also have picks for the NFL Divisional round. And yeah, my wildcard picks aged poorly. I knew it was going to happen. What's going on, guys? Sticks Report here, back to another video. Today we are talking about the divisional round of the NFL playoffs after a pretty wild wildcard weekend where only one road team won out of 6. Yeah, one road team won out of 6 games. Let's just get into these picks. Alright, our first matchup is going to be Houston taking on Kansas City. Kansas City, yeah, number 1 seed, might be the worst 15-2 team we've ever seen. Yeah, we've heard it all. We know what the Chiefs are. Alright, they're going for a three-peat. They're getting healthy. There's nothing more I have to say about Kansas City other than Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. Let's talk about Houston and what they did against the Chargers. I don't even know how that happened. No one could have predicted that. I mean, you have Justin Herbert getting sacked 4 times and throwing 4 interceptions when he threw 3 interceptions all regular season. How did the Texans come together like this? And they started the game all slow. They didn't score until late in the second quarter. They were down 6-0 for most of the first half until with like 2.5 minutes left in that second quarter. I don't know how it happened. I have no idea how they did that, but it was absolutely amazing. Their defense stepped up big time against the Chargers, and then their offense was able to take over that game, especially in the second half. I mean, Nico Collins was just running all over the Chargers defense, and then Joe Mixon with the final nail in the coffin with that TD run, and CJ Stroud just showing why he was a second overall pick and why he had the rookie season that he had. Alright? The Texans are going to give Kansas City a lot of fits if they can play like they did against the Chargers. But the problem is, with the Chiefs, we know how they win. Alright? It's by shutting teams down and having their offense not make any mistakes. That's how they win games. For Houston, they have to be perfect against Kansas City, and that might not even be enough. You're going to Arrowhead. That is a tough place to play, especially with how the Chiefs have been winning. Seems like every single championship game. It's just ridiculous how good this Chiefs team has been the last 5 years. But can Houston do it? Can they pull off the upset? No. I'm going Kansas City. Come on. I think everybody's going to go Kansas City. Houston, it was a nice win against the Chargers, but it's tough to win against Kansas City in the divisional round. Just ask the Bills. Moving from the number 1 seed in the AFC to the number 1 seed in the NFC, Washington's taking on Detroit. Detroit, not much more I can really say. They had a bye week, dealt with a lot of injuries, basically shut down the Vikings the final week of the season. First number 1 seed in franchise history. All I gotta say. Oh, one more thing. Jared Goff, nice comeback story. Anyway, Washington is another interesting story because this team had not won a playoff game in 20 years. They had gone 2 decades without winning a playoff game, and they got the job done against Tampa Bay. Alright, it was a hard-fought game, but at the end of the day, they got the win. That's what's important, and it was a very nice win. Now, Washington may be a 6th seed, but honestly, they're better than some of the division winners in the NFL this year. Jane Daniels, he is one of the top rookie quarterbacks that we have seen. I know I said that for Stroud last year, but with Daniels, he's been on par with what Stroud did last year. I know they're 2 different kinds of quarterbacks, but the impact that both of those guys had in their rookie seasons was absolutely amazing. And 2 important pieces, Daniels and Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn helped turn this Commander team around. This Commander team was expected to do nothing this year, and Dan Quinn just got the most out of these players and had them playing winning football. And that's just what great coaches do. That's why Dan Quinn got to the Super Bowl when he was with the Falcons. We're not going to talk about what happened in that Super Bowl, but he got there. And the reason is because he knows how to get the best out of his players. I mean, the turnaround from this defense has been absolutely amazing. And again, Jane Daniels has been leading this offense, but it's not just him. Of course, you have Terry McLaurin, one of the most underrated wide receivers in the game. Brian Robinson is a very solid running back, and the offensive line has played well throughout most of the year. Without this offensive line playing as well as they have, I don't know what Daniels could be doing. I mean, a lot of us just expected him to run for his life, but offensive line's been pretty solid. Now, Detroit's going to be tough. We all know that. With just the explosive plays that they can get on offense, Jahmyr Gibbs at running back, Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown at wide receiver, and of course Sam Laporta at tight end. They are a tough offense to stop, and they're getting David Montgomery back. That is big for them. Now, we all know about the defense, all right? We know all about the pieces that they have lost, but if they can play like they played when they beat the Vikings in Week 18, you feel good about their chances to go to their first Super Bowl. And it's going to be a hard-fought match. I think Washington's going to get some plays over on this defense, but there's a reason why Detroit got the number 1 seed and was able to overcome all of the obstacles in their way to get there. I'm going to go with the Lions. So I have both number 1 seeds winning in the divisional round. Those are our 2 Saturday games. Let's move on to our 2 Sunday games. All right, Rams are taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. For Philadelphia, they took care of business against Green Bay. That was really a defensive game for Philadelphia. Their defense is what won them this game. Get the turnovers against Green Bay, not allowing them to score in critical moments. That's exactly what they had to do in the offense. They just didn't mess it up. All right? But the offense is still very good, all right? Jalen Hurts is still a very good quarterback. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and of course, Saquon Barkley. You have to be aware of them at all times, along with this offensive line, which is one of the best units in the NFL. Could make the argument it's the best unit in the NFL. Now you're going up against a Rams team that suffered through a lot of injuries throughout this season, but they're finally healthy, and when they are on, they are on. Matthew Stafford, he may be getting up there in age, but he's still a good quarterback in this league. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, very deadly combo at wide receiver, and that defensive line, oh man, this is going to be a battle. The defensive line of the Rams versus the offensive line of the Eagles, this is going to be fun to watch. And this is another one where I just don't see a blowout. All right, I think the Rams could definitely give the Eagles offense a few fits, and they could definitely score at times on the Eagles defense if they take advantage of their chances. The Eagles have got to be careful here. They can't go into this matchup thinking it's going to be easy. They have to be aware of what the Rams can do. But I still do have the Eagles winning, so I have 3 of 3 home teams winning. Do I make it 4 for 4? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in this next matchup. All right, Buffalo, Baltimore. There's a reason why this one is saved for last. Well, actually, it's because Buffalo played on Sunday. They didn't want to put them for Saturday, but that's not the point. This is a matchup that is just amazing to have in the divisional round. Peter Schrager of Good Morning Football said it might be the most anticipated quarterback matchup in the divisional round. I don't know if I go that far, but you're talking about the 2 quarterbacks that are going to finish 1, 2 in the MVP voting, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Let's start with Buffalo. Buffalo, I mean, they're the ones that beat the Chiefs. They're the ones that stopped the Chiefs' undefeated season, all right? And they had some slip-ups, of course, the Week 4 matchup against Baltimore, but they are officially healthy and at their best. And Josh Allen's not doing this alone, all right? The receiving core has been what he has needed, all right? There's not an elite player there, but there's a lot of very solid players that he can get the football to, and they can make plays. But there's also James Cook. James Cook has been a big key to this Bills offense, all right? Josh Allen has not had a running back with the season that James Cook has had this year. And without him, Josh Allen might still be playing hero ball at times. But Josh Allen knows, now that he has Cook, now he has solid receivers, he doesn't have to play hero ball all the time. And again, the offensive line is very good for Buffalo. I mean, very good. And then you got a defense that's just solid. Been solid for a lot of the season. However, they did rank 19th in rushing. And when you're going up against Derrick Henry, potentially when it's snowing, that could be an issue. Alright? Derrick Henry has had just as much of an impact for the Ravens as James Cook has had for the Bills. In fact, he's had more of an impact. Just the season that he has had, taking the pressure off of Lamar and allowing Lamar to do the things that he has done this year. I mean, you're talking about a guy that has thrown over 40 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Alright? You just don't see numbers like that. Lamar, he, along with Allen, have just been amazing all year long. It's their biggest reason as to why those two are 1-2 in the MVP. I don't know who's going to end up winning it, but that's going to be a storyline no matter what happens in this game. Now for the Ravens. Yes, I talked about Lamar, and I talked about Henry. We don't know if Zay Flowers is going to play. However, Mark Andrews stepped up in that game. Rashad Bateman had the big touchdown against the Steelers. And then you have other guys that can take over. Justice Hill. Alright, he's a threat in the running game and in the receiving game. That's exactly what the Ravens need. They need a full-fledged effort. And they need the offensive line to be at their best. There were some struggles early on, but they got it done. Speaking of struggles, the defense. The defense was the worst unit in the NFL for over half of the season. And then after their bye, they just turned things around and they turned into one of the best. They had to do a lot of different shuffling, putting guys in, but they got it done. And this defense is at the top of their game right now. And they have to be able to slow down Josh Allen and that offense. Now the key is going to be a fast start. Who's going to get off to the better start? Baltimore, when they played Pittsburgh, they were up 21-0 at halftime. The Bills were up 10-7 against the Broncos. The Bills' offense cannot get off to a slow start, because if they do, and the Ravens' offense is able to score early on, that could mean trouble for the Bills. Now, it's going to be a tough one. I expect these picks to go 50-50 for whoever's going to pick this. And I know, Baltimore beat Buffalo. But these two teams are very different from when they played each other in Week 1. I'm not just talking about the Bills, I'm talking about the Ravens as well. The Ravens had guys out as well, and they've had personnel changes since Week 4. Alright? Don't forget about that. However, I am going to make this 4-4. I'm going to go with Buffalo over the Ravens, and by the slimmest of margins. It's the home field, alright? Alright? They're playing in Buffalo. That's going to be the difference in this game. This Buffalo crowd is going to go wild, and I think it's going to mess with the Ravens' offense just enough to get the Bills the win. Alright, so I've got Kansas City, Detroit, Philadelphia, and Buffalo moving on to their conference championships. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I think we're going to be in for a great divisional week. I can't see too many of these games being a blowout, and really, it just wouldn't surprise me if they're all one-score games. But as always, I will see you guys next time.